Okie dokies, everybody. It's Saturday morning. We know what that means. Right, today I am actually going to talk about my own stuff. I know, I've been talking about everyone else in the lead up to doing District. So I thought today I'd actually talk about what I make or have made. Everything in front of you that you can see, I'll try and do a pan quickly, is all 3D printed stuff that I have sculpted in ZBrush. We're going to go through it because there's quite a lot here. I know the idea with District at the minute is I'm just going to finish the game because it's on about 19 to 20 files that I need to compile into one file and then release to the world once I've done all the artwork, because that's what's keeping me down. It's not having the artwork. Now, we're going to talk about the models. Where we started, where we are, where we're going. And obviously because I've just started a new job, I'm not getting as much time to sculpt. Though once I'm finished my training and actually into the job, that's probably going to change. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So, we're going to talk about District. What is District? District is a skirmish gang fight game, 5-on-5, with a roleplay element, and hopefully, when I get it all done and finished, there will be a kind of like settlement organisation thing. I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. I think it will help for gameplay and story purposes, but I think it's kind of complicated, or it might be complicated. We don't need it. I'm unsure. Depends what you want from a game, to be honest. I like the idea of having my squad. They advance as we go along. They get better. They pick up more skills. They pick up more abilities, and they just play. They fight for their section of the world, their district, while you're fighting your friends in theirs. Some districts may be able to get food easier than others. Some districts may be able to get resources easier than others. It's one of those things where you're going to have to be constantly evolving your gang to suit. We have so far a few missions like territory take and stealing food, stealing supplies, weapon cache games. So everyone starts with pistols and it's the first one to the weapon cache, and then you get better weapons. Annoyingly, because of the way I make the models now, my original plan was to have weapons all magnetized, so you could swap the weapons out actually in the game. But with the 3D printing process and so on, and the size, the real scale causes the problem. I may have to up them. Anyway, we started long ago. This is metal because I can't find these green. But this guy, this is what's known as a welder, or would have been a welder. It's the guy with the flamethrowers, the heavy weapons, anything that can burn or destroy anything. And he was done at 45mm because I like this idea of having the bigger game. Obviously, as time went on, here's another one. This is one of the farmers. As the time went on, the scale went down to 32mm and 28mm and all over the place. As you can see here, this is more towards the 28mm. So it got adapted. But yeah, it started at 45. Now, when I first started doing this, I had the software to do the sculpting, but I didn't have a 3D printer. So I used Shapeways. And for reasons, 45mm models always look better than the 34s. These are going to be weird because they're bright white plastic and they're not painted. This is Mario. He's here to flame your gambas. This is what's known as a hand flamer. Because weapons as well. There was a concept for weapons. So we got, here's another one of Mario at 45mm painted. The weapons, you'd have homemade weapons. You'd have all kinds of different ones. You'd bought weapons and so on. And there was all different. Oh, look at me! I have a mustache. There were all different designs for how the weapons work. You'll also notice they're all on different bases. So originally, it was easy to print quickly circle bases in a 3D printer because I had an FDM and I just quick circle base up and stuck on. And then I went to the hexagon base, which I bought about 500 for, but this is because I was trying to design something like Blood Bowl. Obviously, Dead Zone came out. Is it Dead Zone? I don't know. It's like the speedball game that Mantic make. Or is it Warlords? No, it's Mantic. Came out as I was working on it, and it kind of stopped me doing it. I was... Anyone remember British Bulldogs when I was at school? I wanted to do something like that. but as a sports game. This is a Sionis flamer. So I bought hundreds of these hexagon bases to make a hexagon board. That was scrapped. Then I went to the idea of, because we have angles of what we look at, so when you... who's a good one? You're not too bad. Angles of shots and so on, the idea was to use the octagon base. So you had back, front, left, right, and your angles. I have since dropped the whole angle for shooting. You can still be attacked from behind, but obviously that's all to do with the way your model's facing. There are rules for that, but it got complicated. And I don't really want to do overly complicated. I like this guy. This is one of my early sculpts. As you can see, he's still kind of in the A pose. This was known as Spacesuit 1. When I first did this, he was legs, body, head, arms, weapon, helmet. And they were all separate. And like always with 3D printers, there was a slight curve on the join. I don't know if you can see it there. See, there's that black gap. That was causing me problems. So I used to have to sand them once they were off and then get them to glue properly. And yeah, it became a bit of a nightmare. I have since worked out how to get around that. But I've discovered over the time that printing them solid is so much easier and so much better. Let's find a grey one. You have the updated homemade flamer. I think this is the updated one. That might be the Sionis one, actually. As you can see, there's the fuel tank. All the detail in the backpack, which isn't going to show because my camera is still terrible. But eventually I will have more money to buy a better camera. But yeah. Stands on box. Still in a hexagon base. Yeah, these are all Sionis weapons. So they were the slightly less ramshackle type of weapon. I actually don't like them. I did when I designed them first time, but I've done so much better since then. Also, making them slightly bigger has helped. These tips here would snap off for the end of the gun. The homemade one looks more like that. You see, it looks like a pipe that's been stuck in something, and a bit of the end is just screwed on. And yeah, this is one of my we'll call it a dwarf character. He wasn't a dwarf character. He was just... And there you go. There's the gap, see? On there in the join. You can clearly see it when I do that. Which is why a lot of people, when you buy 3D printed models to download to print, come solid. To stop the suction forces separating the two when they're lifted. Anyway, they're third generation. That was all third generation. The second generation are these guys. Yeah, again, still 45mm. But leather bikers type characters. Also, I was watching a lot of Walking Dead when I sculpted this guy. If you're wondering why he looks familiar. I'm not now. And then there's the original Sionis flamethrower. It was quite short. It was used... There was a whole story about Sionis being the spaceship, the guys that ran the spaceships in the ports. And they needed a clearing weapon because there's some kind of tiny bug. Well, they say tiny bug that existed within the spaceship ports, and then they got infested. I think I stole the idea from Spaceballs. Is it Spaceballs the one where you see them flamethrowing the inside of the spaceship before they take off? Anyway, it was one of those. It's one of those things. I like the idea of these little parasites that lived on the outside of the ships that you picked up as you went through space. And these guys have to come in and flame them off the it's not space. It's Fifth Element. It's in Fifth Element they're doing it. So they have to create a small portable flamethrower for that. There are little things. You'll also notice that, like these two, the heads are different, but the bodies are the same. Because like everyone out there that designs anything, you design one thing and then you just start changing a part of it. So this is all solid print as well, because these are done by Shapeways. I think. Oh, they might. No, they're not. They're some of my first resins, because there is a join there. So they're actually some of my first resins. These ones are. But yeah, I do a design I liked, and then I just change the head, change the hair, change the weapon, and so on to improve or carry on. Now, that's generation 1 and 2. That was generation 3. Generation 3 generally were multi-part pieces. I think I did 5 different heads for them. The arms were all suited to certain weapons, so the shotguns and the rifles all used the same arms. Didn't matter what body you put it on. There were 4 different bodies with 4 different armor layouts, and then it was the legs. The legs were the different posing, and then you'd have 2 different arms for like pointing or holding and so on, something like that. There's the one with the pistol and the knife that you can't really see because still a terrible camera. Then we went to Generation 4. Now, Generation 4 is where it starts getting a bit weird again. So there is a 45mm back here, but there is also a 15mm. Because I had plans for a bigger war game down the line. It may still come, it may not do. I don't actually know. But Generation 4 started out as a multi-part, and I started doing things like changing the armour so there was more detailing on the chest and so on. There are better photos on my website. And then backpacks. So the backpack would actually slot in, so you could change the backpack. So you got body, legs, body, arms, heads, backpacks. So you could do the space guy, this guy, with that armour, or this was the plan, and the pauldrons, or you could put that backpack on him, and you could just interact and swap and change them about so much. Now this became problematic. There's the head missing. See, this is number 2. This is me testing different detail levels for prints, hence why they're all numbered. And that's what happens. That black mark just there, if you can see it. I don't know if you can. That's what happens when you wear your rubber gloves too long when using alcohol to clean resin. And then obviously number 4. Still, the gap is there. See? One day I'll work out how to get around it. But I went from there. Independent weapons, see? You'd cut the back off the gun, so the handle off here, and put it on the hand. I went from independent weapons like that. That's one of the last of the glue togethers, to just solid prints. I also went to circle bases because, you know, most models come on circle bases. So the idea was I just do a round base, and then if you're using your own models, all your bases match. You are able to download my circle bases or my round bases from 3D Cults. I will put the link in. You can also get the hexagonal ones that I made, which I actually don't have here. They're all on my 3D Cults account. I will link that in the YouTube. So, but this is a solid print. This all prints as one. He says, dropping him. So he prints solid. There was an idea to do the print solid, but have the heads not attached. So you could then give them different heads. So here's one out of backpack. This is a. Is this solid? No, this is a part print. So he's printed in parts. So if you look, that plate there on his back, it's actually a really tiny bit that you just stick in. I do believe... Ah, no, he's print solid. Yeah, if it's got the holster, it's a print solid. So it allowed me to reposition hands and so on. We're doing print solid. For now, though, as I say, I'm stopping sculpting. 1, while I get the job sorted out, and 2, until I get the rules sorted out, so I can release the game. This is a look at stuff I've made, and there's loads just within this correspondent here. Some of it is on the website, some of it's not. I will be putting up version 3 soon for sale as STL files, I think. No, version 2 will go up as STL files. There'll be like a tenner for the whole set. And version 3, once I've finalised the printing, because that's what I'm doing at the minute, I'm trying to finalise the best way to print them, I will release them actually as a set. They will obviously come with the bases. See, that's one of my bases, if you can see the detail. Oh, that's better. I do need a better camera. Right, that's this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. Next week, I don't know yet because the new job. But we'll see. Hopefully, something awesome will come my way and you guys will get to see it, or I'll design something awesome and you guys will get to see it. Until then, have a good weekend. I will see you later.